He grew up learning how to survive. The other never had to. What happened when they met shocked everyone in the courtroom. Jamal Carter was born in 1982 on the south side of Chicago, in a neighborhood where the paint peeled off the walls like old memories and police sirens sang lullabies to restless children. His mother Vanessa worked 3 jobs, and his father, well, his name was just a rumor Jamal heard sometimes when uncles got drunk at cookouts. By the time Jamal was 10, he already knew what hunger tasted like. Not the missed lunch kind, but the deep, scraping hunger that sits in your bones and whispers during math class. His elementary school was less a place of learning and more a holding cell for poverty. The textbooks were decades old. The heating barely worked. And the teachers, the ones who lasted more than a semester, often taught behind locked doors. Across town, in the gold-tinged suburbs of Lincoln Park, lived another boy named Andrew Whitmore. Same age, same city. But his world was made of warm breakfasts, safe playgrounds, and trips to science museums. His father was a corporate attorney. His mother painted landscapes and volunteered for political campaigns. At Jamal's school, the only painting was graffiti scrawled over lockers like desperate poems. They would have never met until a bus broke down. It was spring of 1994. A citywide art competition was being hosted at the Downtown Cultural Centre. The best students from various schools were selected to attend. Jamal, who'd learned to sketch using charcoal made from burnt pencils, was one of the chosen few. He didn't talk much. His art spoke for him. Andrew was also selected. His submission, a carefully shaded drawing of his golden retriever lying under a sycamore, was praised for its restraint and perspective. He was used to winning. But the bus that was supposed to take the kids from Lincoln Park broke down. So they were assigned to ride with the kids from the south side. 1 bus, 2 worlds. Jamal took a window seat and stared at passing liquor stores and pawn shops. Andrew sat down next to him, clutching his sketch pad like a lifeline. The silence between them was thick. Then Andrew made a mistake. "Is it always this rough out here?" he asked, glancing out the window. Jamal didn't look at him. "What do you mean, rough?" "I mean, it's just different," Andrew said too fast. "No offense." Jamal turned and looked him dead in the eyes. "You ever been stopped by cops on your way to school? You ever had to skip dinner so your sister could eat?" Andrew swallowed. "No." Jamal nodded once, then turned back to the window. "That's rough." That day at the competition, Jamal's artwork, a portrait of his mother asleep at the table, bills scattered in front of her like fallen leaves, won first prize. The room went silent when the judges announced it. They weren't expecting someone from that school to win. But the drawing didn't ask for permission. It demanded attention. Andrew came in third. He clapped politely, but inside something shifted. For the first time, he understood that talent wasn't tied to zip code. Years passed. They lost touch. Jamal got into a community college, then transferred to a state university. He worked nights cleaning offices, slept on buses, and studied on lunch breaks. He graduated with a degree in architecture, top of his class. Andrew went to Yale, interned at a law firm. His parents helped with rent in New York. He never had to think about healthcare or eviction notices. But life has a strange way of circling back. In 2016, Jamal was working at an architecture firm, finally stable. One of the projects he was assigned to involved a redevelopment plan in the very neighborhood he grew up in. The city wanted to revitalize the area. A fancy word for erasing the past with high-end condos and overpriced cafes. At the first planning meeting, Jamal saw a familiar name on the agenda, Andrew Whitmore. He was the lead attorney representing the developers. When they shook hands, there was a pause. "You still draw?" Jamal asked. Andrew chuckled. "Only in margins, you." Jamal nodded. "I design now." The meeting moved quickly, numbers, square footage, tax breaks. But underneath it all was a quiet tension. Jamal knew what this project meant. Displacement, uprooting, culture turned commodity. He requested a private meeting with Andrew that week. "You're paving over our history," Jamal said, holding a blueprint. "These people, they won't be able to afford what you're building. You're turning homes into investments." Andrew leaned back. "I'm just doing my job." "So were the redliners in the 60s, Jamal said. "Doesn't mean it was right." Andrew looked away. "It's complicated." "No," Jamal said. "It's not." That night Andrew went home and looked up redlining. He read about housing discrimination, police violence, and generational wealth gaps. And for the first time, he realized that privilege wasn't just about money. It was about insulation. From fear, from struggle, from truth. The next week, Andrew proposed amendments to the redevelopment plan. Inclusionary housing, local job guarantees, community preservation. His firm pushed back. He was nearly fired. But Jamal wasn't surprised. Truth always costs something. The project was delayed, then redesigned. Some homes were preserved. A community centre was built. Not everything was saved. But something changed. In 2020, during the protests that erupted after George Floyd's murder, Jamal and Andrew stood side by side in Grant Park, holding a banner that read, "Justice is an address, and some of us have never lived there." Jamal spoke to the crowd. His voice was calm but full of fire. "We don't want pity, we want policy. We don't want sympathy, we want systems to change." The crowd roared. Later that night, Andrew turned to him and said, "I wish I'd understood sooner." Jamal shrugged. "You're here now, just don't leave." Justice didn't come easy. It never does. But sometimes it starts with two people who finally see each other. If this story made you feel something, don't let it stop here. Subscribe and stand with us as we tell the truths that rarely make the news.